Welcome back, everybody, to our next session, Create an Advisory Workflow. So this is our second pillar in transforming your practice. We're so excited that you're joining us here on day 2 of our virtual conference. Thank you, everybody, for returning. And my name is Jim Buffington. I'm not going to spend time introducing myself since you all have been hearing me earlier in the day. So welcome back. I am super excited to have with us today Robbie Randall, who is an expert at automating and helping create that advisory workflow. And he's going to be telling us all about how to make improvements to our workflow so that we can automate more compliance, deliver more advisory services, and help power prosperity for our clients. So welcome, Robbie.
Hey, Jim, thank you. And welcome everyone to this presentation. I am super excited to share some tips and best practices with you today. As you can see, I'm a veteran of our professional tax and accounting industry. I do have a great passion around helping small businesses thrive. To that end, whether it's for your company or the companies you work with, if you'd like to connect with me directly, please go out to LinkedIn or Twitter at SmallBizPro, SMBIZPRO. I'd love to chat with you more about any number of topics of interest. So with that, let's go ahead and kick it off, Jim.
All right, thanks, Robbie. So this is our agenda for today. For the next hour, we're going to be talking about the benefits of an advisory workflow, and Robbie's going to take us through some product demos and giving us some great nuggets and things that you can use in your practice. We want you to understand how to use cloud technology to automate some of the work that you do today. And we're also going to spend time communicating to your clients, so helping them understand what the benefits are to moving to the cloud, to automating more of their workflow, having more insights. We're going to cover all that during this next hour. If you want to download the deck, there is a PDF in your handout section right next to the Q&A section. And it will have all of the slides that we cover. It will not have the demonstration that Robbie's going to show you today, but you can, if you need to see that again, you can come back in later, use your same login from your email, and you can watch the recorded version of that if you'd like to see that again. So it is available if you'd like to see that later. If you need the CPE or the housekeeping, there's also a PDF in your handout section for that. So let's get started, and I'm going to kick it off with a quote from one of my favorite people, Bob Goff. He's the author of Love Does. And this quote says, "I used to be afraid of failing at the things that matter to me." Bob says, "Now I'm afraid of succeeding at things that don't matter." And I love this quote, and I think it applies to our profession because many of us have been so burdened and overworked doing the tedious compliance work that we never get the time to deliver that great financial advice to our clients that they need to hear to help them prosper. And we're kind of at a point where now that technology can automate many of the tasks that we used to struggle with, some of us are afraid to let go of those tasks, afraid to let go of that work. It's kind of a security blanket. We like doing it. And so even though some of that work can and is automated today, many of us want to hang on to it just because that's what we've always done. So we're going to be talking about eliminating some of that, automating some of that. We hope that you get some good nuggets out of this next hour. Stephen Covey likes to say, if your ladder is leaning against the wrong wall, you're just going to get to the wrong place faster. So we're going to talk about eliminating some of the jobs that we've done in the past to create more capacity in your firm so that you can focus on delivering more advisory services. So like Bob Goff says, don't try to succeed at things that don't matter. Instead, don't be afraid to fail at new things that do matter. We're going to have some new things over this next hour. So very good. All right, before Robbie gets into sharing a lot of nuggets, I want to go back and just revisit the growth formula. Renee did a great job of explaining that. I'm not going to go that deep, but I do want to reinforce that for us to create capacity, because every one of our practices are maxed out. You're all working overtime. You don't have time to just start delivering new services. In order to do that, we've got to automate some of that low-value work that you're doing today. Things like data collection, things like data entry. If we can automate that low-value work, we can create time for you to invest in other things. Eliminating some of those non-value processes. We talked a lot about the many steps in the billing process. Maybe we can eliminate some of that. maybe some of those reports, if your clients aren't reading them, maybe we shouldn't be spending a lot of time creating them. And then making sure that we're duplicating efficient workflow. So when you find a workflow that's automating a lot of work for one client, we need to standardize that. Do that for all your clients. One of the biggest time killers is when we let our clients define how to bring stuff in, when to bring it in, what format to bring it in. When we let them figure that out, we can't duplicate efficient workflows. So I want to make sure that you have those three things that Renee touched on last time: automate, eliminate, duplicate. And then we can start to deliver advisory services. Again, to do that, we need to focus on bundled services. We will cover that in the next hour. So after this session, we'll have a short break, and then we'll have an hour-long session on bundled services to help you put those packages together for your practice. And then we're going to focus on automating some of the reporting, some of the meetings, leveraging technology, and then most of all, shifting your service focus from historical, reactive, compliance-oriented services to forward-looking, proactive coaching and advising your clients to reach their goals. And that's how we're all going to help clients be more successful and scale your awesome expertise to all of your clients. Okay? All right, Robbie, you ready to take it away here?
Oh, yes. Thank you so much, Jim. So one caveat before we get started today. Just want to make you aware this is not formal training. This is a high-level overview. So I'm going to cover a lot of information. If you've sat on one of my webinars before, you know we cover a lot of information. The goal here is just to make you aware of what's going on inside QuickBooks Online. And then hopefully it's enough to tempt you to go out and seek more detailed information on how to become a master of these features and processes. So without any further ado, let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to take you through a workflow. So when thinking about workflow, the first items that typically happen is we need to capture time. We've got to capture time for the client. Your clients need to capture time for their employees. So one excellent way to do that within our system is with T-Sheets. Now, T-Sheets is owned by Intuit. It is an excellent timekeeping application. It also has a GPS functionality built into their mobile app. So by the way, if you're working with small businesses, they are scraping to stay relevant, to scale, and to succeed. They need mobile technology. This is ready for mobile. So I'm inside of T-Sheets. Very simply, what I would do is I would click on Katie's Craft Beverages right there and then click Clock In. Now, I can, again, do this out in the field on a mobile device. I can assign work as an admin to employees. They've got calendars and really cool ways to track all that information. One other piece is that we do track classes. We also track billable and non-billable time. So I know that's of interest as well. So moving into the bookkeeping. So all that time is captured. It imports and flows into QuickBooks Online automagically. So all that data will be ready for you when you're ready to run payroll, if you need to send invoices related to time, to projects. All that's kind of interrelated within those two applications. I'm now moving out of that timekeeping method and I'm moving into QuickBooks Online Accountant. You can see I'm in the Accountants edition. It says Accountant on the top left. And this is our company's dashboard. What I want to do, though, is jump into Katie's Craft Beverages. That's the client that I clocked in for earlier. So simply click on the drop-down menu, go over to Katie's Craft Beverages, and we're going to land on her QuickBooks Online dashboard. Now, notice I did not have to transfer any files. I don't have to have a server. I don't have to pay for hosting. It's just all built into the cloud platform. This is a huge time savers for those of you coming from desktop. Now I'm going to click on Overview. And Overview is a bookkeeping overview. It will help you quickly identify areas that need to be addressed. Little data point for you. What we've noticed is whenever you have a brand new client, or at the end of the year when you're getting the books for the first time in 9 months or 12 months or maybe even longer, it usually takes you 8 hours of work to get in and figure out what is going on with those books. And Jim, our latest data shows that 8 hours can get cut down to
as little as 8 minutes with this bookkeeping review that highlights all of the errors and the anomalies within that file and immediately points you as an advisor where to go focus.
That is amazing. 8 hours of work down to 8 minutes. So when you're thinking about, gee, how do I create capacity to go after advisory services or to become the advisor for my client, 8 hours per client per year is a great way to start. What you're going to see in this dashboard, simply unaccepted transactions, unreconciled transactions. If you go down a little further, we've got common issues like undeposited funds. I mean, how often do you get a set of books and the opening balance equity is just a mess, right? So the key feature on this dashboard is that these are hyperlinked. So if you want to jump into undeposited funds, you can do so very, very quickly. So that is a quick sneak peek at our bookkeeping review. What I'd like to do now is jump over on the left. You'll notice I'm going to click on banking. Let's talk a little bit about the bank section inside of QuickBooks Online. Now, this might be the most misunderstood feature inside of QBO, QuickBooks Online, when you first start using it. What we do is when you add a bank account, we automatically download all of those transactions into the bank feed. Now, I know what you're thinking. Don't worry, they don't automatically go into the books. It just comes into this holding tank where you can review the transactions, assign the categories, and then add it to the books. Now, here's something special about this section. We use machine learning and artificial intelligence in the bank feed. So as you're working through categorization, as you're doing the work that you normally do, the machine is learning from you, and then it will start categorizing on your behalf, which is going to save you a lot of time. So the goal here is zero data entry. Now, another quick way to automate this work is to go to the bank rules. And, very simply, a rule, if you have a transaction or set of transactions that always needs to be treated a particular way, categorized a certain way, so that they show up in reports the way that you like them, just create the bank rule. So easy to do. Now, one thing to notice on the bank rule screen, down at the bottom, there's an auto categorize and auto add button. What this means is once you get the bank rule humming how you like it, it's acting the way you like it, everything is working the way that you want it to, I would urge you to come back in here and click that button. Now, at this point, after clicking the button, it will bypass the bank feed. So those transactions will get auto categorized. They will bypass the bank feed and get automatically added to the books. The goal here, again, zero data entry. So
love that. Really shifts you from being a bookkeeper to be the reviewer and automate all that work. And one of the great features that we just announced is that now when you create those great bank rules, you can copy those from one client to another client.
That's huge.
So again, you put the investment in, the engineering, you're architecting the system the way you want it. Now you can just copy that template over to another client.
I think that also speaks to a uniform chart of accounts. So if you're not doing that already for your clients and your clients are just bringing in all of these different chart of accounts by vertical, I would urge you to streamline that as well so that you can start to leverage all of these features together. So that is the bank feed. One new feature, I'm just going to highlight, we do have the ability to collect receipts. Your clients can send them in to an email address. They can take a picture from their smartphone. You can do the same on their behalf. There is OCR technology built in there. I would urge you to get out on the online and Google QBO receipts. You're going to find some information out there that is useful. Now, what do? We get these transactions. It's the end of the month. What do we need to do? We need to reconcile those transactions. So all we do is go to our accountant's toolbox. See it up there on the left? That is only available in the accountant's edition. From here, I would simply click on reconcile. Then you would go in and do the work that you normally do. Add your beginning and ending balances, put in your dates, and reconcile that bank account. Afterwards, you can quickly print PDF reports.
Just save those PDF reconciliations. When you have the bank feeds going, those reconciliations typically can be as quick as 30 seconds. I mean, it really is much more automated when you have the bank feeds going and you do that reconciliation much faster than the old traditional way that we used to do it.
For sure. Our data shows that traditional way of doing the work is about 30 to 40 minutes per client. So to get that down to a couple of minutes, tops, I think is another great way to find that time savings. One last thing, I know this about you. Only about 50% of your clients are connected to banks. Now, for most of you out there, that's a cold hard fact. So if your clients are not connecting their banks inside of QuickBooks Online, we need to have a real talk about why they're in QuickBooks Online. Please take advantage of this automation that's available to you. All right, so we've done a reconciliation. Let's talk a little bit about pay. Let's go ahead and go into the payroll section. We call that workers. Much like all of our other sections within QuickBooks Online, we do have an overview tab with shortcuts. You can add employees, contractors, 1099, run payroll, etc. In this scenario, I'm going to look at the employee list. See, I've got my employees, general information available. And then all I need to do is click the big green button on the top right, and that will automatically run payroll. Now, Jim, there's a new feature that our customers have just been screaming for. So what have we added for them?
Yeah, so now you can put salaried employees on autopilot, and you don't have to step into QuickBooks to run their payroll every 2 weeks or every payroll. If they're salaried, you can put them on autopilot. So many of the folks in your firm could just be on autopilot. You really never have to run payroll again. Some of your single member LLCs or S corporations, you can put those on autopilot and literally just check in on them quarterly or whenever you meet with them, but you don't have to go in and process the payroll every time.
Very good, very good. So let's shift gears again and take a look at batch reclassify. So I know that's a big deal for many of you out there. I just want to click on that accountant's toolbox, come down to reclassify transactions. Now, for the sake of this demonstration, I just want to find an account with several transactions. Let me look around here. Here we go. And then this should feel very familiar to our desktop process, right? You just check off those transactions and then simply click reclassify. Now I can reclassify accounts, I can reclassify classes, and all of that can be done in a batch format. Okay, budgeting. Let's talk about budgeting. And a quick pause. If you're considering advisory services, okay, and especially if you're considering scaling advisory services across all of your clients, it starts with a budget. Actually, it starts with a conversation ahead of time, but the end result should immediately be a budget for the client. All of your clients, 100%, I would recommend, should be on a budget. And that is very easy to do. So I'm inside of Katie's Craft Beverages. I'm going to go to the gear on the top right and click on budgeting. Now, this is the way to set up the budgets. Of course, a lot of this information can also be found in other places like reports. But for this scenario, I'm going to go to the 2019 annual. You'll notice it says edit. What I'd like you to do is go right over to that little drop-down menu. And then for this example, I'm going to use the run budgets against actuals report. And voila, as they say, I've got that report pulled up. It's in beautiful format and layout. Of course, I can go in and customize it more. But in this scenario, for the sake of time, I just wanted to let you know that this is available. And again, Jim, very easy way to get into advisory services, higher value advisory services.
Yeah, as you start talking to your clients about their goals and holding them accountable to reach those goals, use that budget tool to get started with. It's pretty basic, but it's a great starting point, and you know how to adjust the revenue, the COGS, the expenses in order to get the bottom line that they need to reach their goals. You know how to do all that magic and apply the tax strategies like your pension contributions and accruing things. So apply your magic there. Once you outgrow the budget here, there are other great tools to do more sophisticated budgeting, more planning, forecasting, and strategic advising.
Mm-hmm. So there you go. And I know this about your firm as well. What is it? The data shows 80 to 90% of businesses operate without plans.
Without a plan.
And that is a tragedy. So one quick way to get that going is the budget. Now, since we're in the budget, that is a report. Let's go ahead and talk a little bit about reports. I'm going to click on reports on the far left. And under standard, this is where you're going to find your full list of reports available. What I would recommend you do is just simply star or highlight the ones that you use most often. Those will bubble up to the top under favorites so that you don't have to continuously hunt for those. Now, reports can be customized. They can also be automated. Save yourself a lot of time. Create the report and then automate it to your clients. So down here for Katie's Craft Beverages, you'll notice we've got a batch of beautiful custom reports. I need Katie to keep an eye on those reports every Monday morning. We are working very closely together. She's got a cash flow issue like most businesses do today. So every Monday morning, she needs those reports. What I don't need is me and my staff spending Sunday night building out those reports and creating overtime for the company. So in this scenario, all I would do is click edit and then simply turn on the schedule, go in and put in your email, make it nice, maybe carbon copy yourself, tell the system every week on Monday you want to send that report out. Now, maybe you want to attach an Excel file. Maybe you're an Excel file fight and you want to go in and do that voodoo that you do. By all means, you do have that ability as well. The goal here is now these are automated reports. It's a batch that's sent out every Monday. Firm really doesn't have to do much at that point. We just got to make sure that we got it all tied down ahead of time. One last thing, you CPAs out there, I know compilations are a big deal. We can also do that with compilation financials. Just want to make you aware that you have the ability to go in and fully customize these compilations. You can add logos, you can take that away, you can make this as aseptic as you possibly like it. Other benefits of the management reports are that you can put in custom headers and footers. And then once you get those custom reports or report sets built out, that information is also automated from then on. So I've got CPAs that go from spending several hours of putting together compilations to 15 to 20 minutes. So again, another great way to glean some time savings and capacity within the firm. All right, so continuing on the advisory theme, we're shifting gears here. So we've been in our report section. I'm going to go back to the overview tab. You may have seen the business performance section while I was in there earlier. Let's go ahead and click on that. This was announced last week, Jim, at QuickBooks Connect.
Yeah. And again, this is still in its infancy, but we are beginning to put more ratios, key performance indicators into this section so that you, as a trusted advisor, can give more rich advising to your clients. Again, this doesn't mean a lot to your clients, but with your insight, with your advising, you can help them reach their goals. You can help them understand more about their business. And again, we'll continue to develop this section to add a little bit more, but this is just a taste of what you can do today. I'll also say that if you want to deliver richer insights today, there are great reporting tools like Fathom, like LivePlan that you can leverage today. If you need to do consolidations, there's great apps like QBOA that will pull together multiple QuickBooks files and make it really easy to deliver insights there. So this is the type of insights and advising that you can do today, and this is just going to get better. So really important for you to get engaged, start learning now, or your competition is going to be using this to make a great impression on your clients.
That's exactly right. So in one fell swoop, we announced KPIs, key performance metrics built within QuickBooks Online, and also stay on the lookout for industry benchmarking. That's another big one that's coming soon that was announced at QuickBooks Connect. So we've got the advisory, we've got the reports built out. We are on track to deliver an awesome experience to our clients and just provide massive amounts of value. So what do? We need to close out the period. Let's tie all this down so we can get all of this information locked up and to keep them from making changes or voiding items after the fact. So all we do simply is go to the accountant's toolbox and then click on close the books. Now, we've got some professionals that have a lot of fun with this. You do want to turn it on and then add your dates. And the interesting thing about this is that you can also add passwords. So we've got professionals that make very creative passwords in this section. We've got one professional, her password is 5,000. And when her clients call her up and say, hey, what's the password? She says 5,000. And they say, hey, what's that about? And she's like, that's what I'm about to charge you for whatever you're about to break. So you can have a lot of fun in this section. It lets your clients know that they don't need to go in after the fact and make changes. You are the professional and the advisor. All
Yeah,
right.
and leading firms take advantage of this. So as they're meeting with clients on a quarterly or monthly basis, they're rolling that period forward. So when they get to the end of the year and you get to that January meeting, it's just close out the year,
So big.
book your depreciation, and you are ready to do the tax return on your schedule instead of waiting for the client to bring a file in maybe in March, and then you have to go through tons of cleanup. You've moved that period forward throughout the year.
So what I hear you say is that tax extensions in most cases are an option and not a requirement.
For leading firms are optional.
That is amazing. So again, imagine the capacity in your firm by not having extensions from March until September, October. That is quite a bit of capacity built out. By the way, your clients hate that process. They do not like to get nagged all summer. They don't like the constant emails, the phone calls, all the stuff that you do in the firm to get that information from them. It's also a bad customer experience. So it's really a win-win for both you and your clients. All right, so we've talked a little bit about how to go through advisory services. We're kind of teeing up, tying down and locking down that information so that the reports and other items are meaningful. So now let's talk a little bit about internal controls. And I do want to mention our audit log. So I'm going to go up to the top right, click on gear, and then click on the audit log. And I'm going to say it, Jim, I'm just going to put it out there. The QuickBooks Online audit log is better than our desktop audit log.
Absolutely.
And one of the main reasons is this: we keep transactional detail. You can't turn it off. So let me give you an example of one bit of fraud that was recently found out. Employee goes into the books, they change the vendor check to their name, they print off the check, go out and cash the check, come back into the system, change it back to the vendor's name, so that historically what would happen is you would see the vendor check and everything looked normal. We both know that's a good bit of fraud. In QuickBooks Online, it keeps track of every step that employee made, and it will help you and your clients thwart that fraud that happens, unfortunately often. So,
so keep rolling the period forward, and then periodically review that audit log, and especially if the owner has any concerns, review that audit log.
That is wonderful. So I'm going to go into the Accountant's Edition now. So I've been in Katie's Craft Beverages. What I'm going to do is click on Accountant on the top left. This is taking me back into my Accountant's Edition dashboard. One thing I do want to show you over on the bottom left, your books. This is your firm's books. By the way, for our tax and accounting professionals, your books are completely free of charge. It does not matter how many employees you have, how many pro advisors, it doesn't matter where they work from, how many locations, it is completely free. So with that in mind, what I'm going to do is click on sales, and I'm looking at clients here. I'm just going to look up Katie and click on Katie's Craft Beverages. Hop on over to the transaction list, and I want to take a look at a sales receipt. All right, so here we go. Here's an interesting proposition. So I have my sales receipt here. If it's the same amount quarterly, let's say you have your client set up on a bundled pricing strategy, maybe they're paying you monthly, maybe they're paying you quarterly, and it's a set amount. What I would recommend you do is go to the bottom of the screen and click on Customize, or excuse me, Make Reoccurring. And then what you can do is set that sales receipt on a schedule and automate that piece for your firm. It's going to save you a ton of time. And again, it also creates a better experience for the client.
Yeah. So as we talk in the next hour about moving to bundled services, think about putting your clients on a subscription and let QBO automate that billing for you. It takes away about 10 steps on every monthly invoice, or if you're doing annual tax, just really simplifies that process.
That is wonderful. So I'm going through some quick math in my head, adding up all of the hours of time savings that we've shown you just in the few minutes we've been together today. And that's not even the exciting part. Here's where it gets really, really compelling. So I'm going to jump back into Katie's company. We've done the advisory, we've had our meetings, we've had our business insight reviews on a monthly basis. We've gone over KPIs, we have talked about budgets, we've got our clients on track. It's the end of the year, it's time to do the taxes. So what I'm going to do inside of QuickBooks Online is click on the accountant's toolbox and click on prep for taxes. Now this opens up our tax center inside of QuickBooks Online. What you're going to notice is at the very top, we've got a balance sheet. And right below the balance sheet, we've got the profit and loss. All of that is in one screen, one dashboard, so to speak. You have full control over this stuff. You can go in, make adjustments. You can attach work papers per account. How about that? Add notes per account. Do all the things that you would normally do for tax season. And then right over here, I'm going to click on tax mapping. What you see in one clean, easy to read screen is your entire chart of accounts. It also shows for an 1120S, it also shows how that entire chart of accounts is mapped for the 1120S tax return. This is a beautiful view, easy to read. By the way, this is also mapped with machine learning. If you do need to go in here and make a reassignment, simply click the pencil, make your assignment. The machine will remember from your actions, which is wonderful. So you're going to notice we've got the 1120S teed up, everything balanced. I'm going to come over here to the top right and click on choose tax option. From there, I'm going to click on update existing return.
You pro forma over your return from one year to the next, so all your depreciable assets should be in there. Since we've been working with Katie, we've added some new assets, so now we're just ready to move all the general ledger trial balance over.
How simple is that? So for this scenario, I'm going to click on Katie's Craft Beverages, the 1120S. What you're noticing right above that is another scenario that I created. Yes, you can have multiple scenarios available, and it doesn't cost you any extra. So let's go ahead and click Update. We're going to port all of that information over to the tax return. The system is thinking, and within seconds, I've got an 1120S ready for review. You're going to notice that balance sheet is beautifully balanced over on the right. We've got the books on the M1 ready for you, reconciliation, income amount, all of that's available for you as well. I challenge you to consider how long it takes you and your team to data enter an 1120S. Think about that for a minute. A 1065, is it 4 hours? What's the average, 4 hours, 5 hours?
It just depends. And I mean, the great thing is when you make updates, so you get new information, you update the books, you can just click accept those changes in the new trial balance and push it out to the tax return again. And literally in one click, you've updated the whole tax return instead of having to hunt through and find out where to make those changes in the tax return.
And there it is. So you assign the time, whatever it takes you to typically do this data entry work. Literally, we've cut that down to a few seconds. Now you can just do your review and move on with your life. So this is a wonderful way to speed up your tax process. So we were looking at the 1120S return. I do want to mention this year we are adding some new things that you should be aware of. E-signature. We are adding e-signature for corporate returns and partnerships, right?
All the business
returns. So there you go. E-signature will be available for those corporate and business returns, making your clients available to sign from anywhere in the country. How about that? All right, and let's go ahead and take a look at the e-signature section. All right, and this is where you would do that work for the e-signature. All right, so Katie's company is an 1120S. Let's go ahead and take a look at the individual return. We do need to bring over that K1. So simply I went back to the tax return dashboard, went into Katie's individual return, and now what we're going to do is look at the K1 import feature. So now that the K1 is pulled up, you'll notice on the top right there's a K1 button. We're going to click that button and select the 1120S that we want to bring over. There it is. Hit that radio button. We are selecting the return that we're going to update with that information, and we're going to select the shareholder. Bottom right, click Next. review what the action we're about to take. Let's go ahead and make sure we're doing the right thing. This is the information that is going to be brought into the 1040 return, which is wonderful. And then we simply click import. And there you have it. That information was brought in from the corporate return. Remember, the corporate return was done in a mere few minutes. Now we've got that information ported into the 1040 return. Let's go ahead and check the return. We're going to click on the check return tab, then take a look at the comparisons. All right, and then let's go down into a section that we call Intuit Link. So Intuit Link is a portal that you can share with your clients. Think of it as a collaboration tool. It's where they can sign the engagement letter. You can share a questionnaire, or what would traditionally be called an organizer. And you can also have your clients upload important documents that are needed for the return. You'll notice in this scenario for Katie, she's already uploaded a W-2. Now, here's something wonderful about this document storage space. We also import that data. So let's take a look at the W-2 import. All right, so there's our W-2 for Katie. We want to go over to the right, make sure that that is assigned to the Sportsman In. Bottom right, click Continue. And then you're going to get a side-by-side comparison of the image on the left against the data that's going to be imported on the right. This does give you an opportunity to make any corrections if you need to, but frankly, we're running about a 99% accuracy rate, so I'm excited to have you come in and try this. You'll notice the sections are in green. That's letting you know the green sections are being imported. Okay, so we've done our review against the actual image. Let's go ahead and click Import. And there you go. That data is imported. So if we go over to the income section, you'll notice the W-2 has been updated. For now, let's go into the check return, take a look at what's been happening. And then lastly, file return. Let's click on the view PDF. Yeah, let's take a look at that PDF. All right. And then you can look at the finished product there. Let's go ahead and pull that up in PDF format. Take a look at it, and there you go. Here's your client letter. Below that is the tax reform impact summary. Yes, tax reform hasn't gone anywhere. And then, of course, we've got our comparison pages, federal and state. And then lastly, we can review the return and be on our way. Don't forget, you can share that finished return with your client via Intuit Link. That does send the finished return to the client portal. They will be notified via email and that information has been uploaded. It's also a great feature. It makes it very quick and easy to share that information. All right, Jim, I think we've covered a lot. We've taken you through timekeeping, getting into the QuickBooks Online file, bank feeds, the accountant's toolbox, setting up budgets, looking at performance review information that is new to QuickBooks Online, talked about how to create that advisory workflow, where to start with advisory conversations, all the way through the 1120S corporate return and the individual K1 import and e-signature capabilities within the ProConnect Tax Online. I think that is quite a bit. Let's go ahead and call a timeout there.
All right. Thank you, Robbie.
You
great
absolutely
job.
are welcome. Thank you.
So, again, great job just illustrating a whole lot of areas that we spend a lot of time collecting information, doing data entry that can be automated. So thanks for all those nuggets. And this slide is just a very brief recap of a few of the areas that you touched on as you went through
that's a great
QuickBooks
slide.
Online, QuickBooks for the clients, T-Sheets, ProConnect Tax Online. So again, we understand change is challenging for many of you in your firm, but the first step is just having the right mindset to embrace some of the automation that's out there. So this just barely touches on some of the things that you walked through, but if you're not connecting those bank feeds, if you're not taking advantage of rules to automate a ton of transactional data entry, great opportunity there. So there's some good time savings there. Again, the bookkeeping review, phenomenal feature based completely on feedback from our customers.
Absolutely.
So
wonderful.
great area to add value. Lots of other things. Be sure and close that period out as you're moving it forward. So when you get to the end of the year, you're ready to do the tax return on your schedule. So great stuff there.
Thank you.
Let's talk a little bit about communicating changes to your clients. So one of the challenges we often hear is that you don't know how to migrate legacy clients to a new platform, to a new system. The truth is, your clients already trust you, and they're waiting for your expert advice. Many pros tell us that when they make the recommendation and they present the benefits, their clients overwhelmingly say, okay, if you say so, we'll do it. So this is a communication from one firm who decided to move their business clients to the cloud. And I'll also say that many pros, many firms move their clients in waves as they get more confident. So don't necessarily send this out to 100% of your clients all at once, because that might create an enormous amount of work to migrate everybody at once and sort of onboard everybody. And yes, they need your expert advice in onboarding and training and getting comfortable. So think about doing it in waves. Start with your own books, then do the clients that you already do write up for internally. You've seen enormous ways to automate a lot of that work and simplify that and provide a better experience for your clients with real-time data. And then as you get through those, then think about those annual tax preparation cleanup clients that come in once a year. It's a whole lot of work. Think about migrating them. So do it in waves. It's a journey. Again, we're all on this path together. But good communication starts with why you are making a change. And in this case, this pro said, hey, we're updating our services to include tax planning for every engagement because we want to help you, our clients, reach your long-term goals. Next, share what that means for them and what's in it for them. So, hey, we're moving our services to a cloud platform where we can easily engage and collaborate with you. And then share the benefits. So one benefit is existing users are more confident managing their business finances, and your clients want more confidence. I can tell you today that 63% of your clients are regularly kept up at night worrying about cash flow, and a third of your clients today cannot pay their bills this month, cannot make payroll, cannot pay their bills this month. So they all want more confidence running their business, and you can help them with that. So tell them what's in it for them. And then finally, when you communicate, reinforce your purpose serving clients. So our goal is, in this firm's case, our goal is minimize your tax liability and help you reach your goals. So when you send out a communication like this, some clients are just going to volunteer and say, sign me up. And then most of your clients, it's probably still going to be a conversation to say, hey, what does this mean? How do I do this? What does this look like? But you can help them through that. In the next session, after this one, we'll use a communication like this to introduce bundled services. This latest generation of clients are not only digital natives, they're the most entrepreneurial generation we have ever had. They are creating new businesses at a higher rate than prior generations, including the boomers, which was the biggest business creators before. 8 out of 10 of these new entrepreneurs choose cloud applications to run their operations, including choosing cloud accounting like QBO instead of desktop software. So in addition to facilitating better tax planning services, the cloud enables firms to be advisors and coach these cloud-based businesses in ways that you never could with desktop software. Now you can engage in real time with your new businesses. These clients also have very different expectations from the pros that they hire. So even more important than creating a
video focuses
cloud
on an
collaboration
overview of the mobile app that you can
platform.
download onto your phone. So next time you're in the
Yeah,
apps on your iPhone or
went too
Droid
far
or whatever, just go ahead and
there.
download QuickBooks.
Well, Well, let me show you. I'm going to hang on. Whoops. In this next slide, I'm going to show you a video of how entrepreneurs can use the mobile app
Thanks
to
for watching this
access
short video. It
real-time
focuses
information.
on an overview of the mobile app that you can download onto your phone. So next time you're in the apps on your iPhone or Droid or whatever, just go ahead and download QuickBooks. We have a self-employed one, but I'm going to be in the QBO one. QuickBooks one is for QBO, not desktop, but for QuickBooks Online. So you just click on QuickBooks, and it'll open up, and here is your dashboard. Right, gives you a profit and loss, kind of a chart and graph, and then I can view the specific, chart itself, or I can click View Report, and it gives me my P&L. So it's P&L and a balance sheet. If we go back home, I can click Review Transactions, and this would be banking. So I see that I have 47 new transactions. I can click over here, and I can just swipe to the right, and this just accepts it into the register, if you will, right? As you're going through, you can even look at the recognized ones and click Accept All at the bottom if I wanted to. I can't do a reconcile from here, but that gives me, the option. And then I can sort by date, amount, A to Z, money in, money out, or even select multiple. Now, when you click Add, I can actually add a bank to my QBO file from the phone app as well. Now, you'll see invoices that are open and paid. I'll see some account balances. This is all still on the home page on the dashboard. We'll get to the plus sign in a second. When I click on Activity to the right of dashboard, these would be my recent transactions, right? I just added an expense today at 116, right? Because those came in the feed, right? Those two, both at 116. Then I did some work on a demo earlier today. So that's left over from there. So it's like your last bunch of transactions, if you will. And I even have an attachment here with a note. We'll talk about notes in a bit too. Some cool stuff you can do with the phone app for QBO or on the tablet. Now, if you need full functionality, like I won't be able to do a reconcile, I can't get to the manage user windows, not a whole lot of accountant settings. So there's going to be some feature sets that are not accessible when I'm using the mobile app for QBO. But I could always log in natively to qbo.intuit.com, on a browser on the phone, but it's not really optimized for it. So I still like this app, particularly when you're out and going along. Back to the dashboard, I am going to click the plus sign, and here are the available transactions that can be entered using the mobile app. I have the sales receipt, expense, bank deposit, estimate, invoice, and payment. I'm also going to click the three lines, hamburger icon, if you will, in the upper left, next to home. It tells me the file I'm in, notes and attachments. So obviously there's a feed there, and these are all attachments that I have. Notes, attachments, here's my products and services list, and yes, I can add an item if I want, or a product or a service, and you can do a search by clicking search. So on all of these lists, like products and services, customers, they have a little search field, right? And it's helpful to drill in on a customer and see their address. You can do that all from here as well. Vendors as well, and then banking, of course, is bank feeds. You have your chart of accounts, and then we have the transactions. And then down below, there's two reports, and then you have some settings, but that's not the accountant settings. Speaking of attachments, creating transactions, from the mobile app when you're out, I'm going to go ahead and click the plus sign next to expense. And I could have done that from the dashboard plus sign, and this is what it looks like. Take a photo. And here I can go ahead and take a picture of a receipt. So you take the pic. There's my receipt. Click use this photo. And then you can fill it out exactly what it was. So it was $23.56. And it was other because it was like a debit card. Company checking, who did I pay? See, this is where you can either scroll through or just do a search for a particular vendor. There you go, McDonald's, don't judge, good stuff. Value meal, right? Sometimes it'll come over with an account already taken care of, local meals. But look, I can assign a location or a class, or I can do some job costing to pass this expense through. Add a split, put a reference number or a memo at the bottom. So I'm creating the transaction. In the QBO file, it will actually match to the bank feed 2 days later, right, with the receipt attached. So I'm going to go ahead and click Save. Other thing to point out too, let's do an estimate. Let's say you're out at your customer. You can create a new estimate, but you can also take a signature. So once I create the estimate, there's this get signature down here, and that's on the estimate and the invoice. So then that person can sign it, That's pretty sweet. Can't really do that inside, and I can choose who accepted by or convert to invoice or whatever. So now I have the saving signature. I always thought that was kind of nifty. And of course you can convert it to an invoice from here. You can also add documents. I could go add an attachment or notes if I will, the edit icon, and then you have the Again, the little 3 dots, the ellipsis on the upper right of transactions, it'll give you some other options. Like the More button when you're on a transaction in the browser of QBO, pretty similar. So I can convert to an invoice, or here are the other options: preview email, export, copy, delete. The signature capture is on the estimate and the invoice, not the sales receipt, because the sales receipt's like paid, right? So why would you do a signature? But I just wanted to make sure. Track the activity. Go back into the left-hand panel. So again, bank deposits. And those are the supported transactions. Couple reports. You don't have much for settings. Payroll will open up Intuit Online Payroll. And then notes and attachments. I can write notes, and I can also attach things right into QuickBooks Online. Quick note. We'll see where this shows up in QBO. Assigned to a particular, all right, so it's a note on a particular customer. Right, that's where it's going to show up. Save that. And you can add new customers and vendors as well from either customer or vendor page. Just click plus, fill out the appropriate information. We'll go back home. So that is the current functionality on the mobile app for QBO. Have a great day.
Okay. So as my friend Woody demonstrated, the online mobile app allows clients to effectively run their business with ease from their mobile phone or their tablet. You can run basic reports, you can look up invoices, you can collect payments, collect signatures, collect documents. This can really help you with document management with your clients who aren't very good at keeping documentation. We even have a pro in Phoenix, her name is Alejandra, who is completely cloud-based. And she doesn't ask her clients if they want QBO. In fact, she just tells them this is the system we're going to use. And when they bring in their desktop file or their receipts, she uploads it to QuickBooks. When they come in to pick up their tax return, she says, whip out your mobile phone, and she shows them their new system on their mobile phone with their logo on it and how to do invoicing, how to collect signatures, payments, receipt capture, and they absolutely love it. And the onboarding takes literally less than 30 minutes. So it's a transformation. Again, your clients probably aren't asking for it, but when you show it to them, it can be a delighter. So think about that mobile app. Bounce back here. And so let's talk a little bit about the benefits for your clients, because if you are going to communicate this to your clients, if you're going to move to this advisory platform, you want to be confident in what the advantages are. Those 8 out of 10 businesses that choose to operate in the cloud, first of all, do so because they have access to mobile data. 67% of the businesses out there today say they could not survive. They would not be in business if they didn't have mobile access to their data. So that's how important the internet is. That's how important data is in making decisions. So think about that with all of your legacy clients. The next thing is automation. Our clients are busy. They're spending an average of 21 hours a week doing back office stuff that doesn't help grow their business, doesn't help add value in the front office. The cloud cuts that in half. So automation is a huge advantage. You can give the gift of time to your clients. Next is growth. Over 96% of QBO users say QuickBooks Online helps them grow their business. That's an amazing number. So again, that can really help. You can deliver that value. Insights, when you're involved, you can help them understand their business better. That's the magic. That's the financial acumen that you can bring to really power prosperity for your clients. And then finally, cash flow. I mentioned earlier that businesses are struggling with cash flow. It's one of the biggest reasons that contributes to the 50% failure rate in the first 5 years for small business. And most of the time, they just don't know what to do, who to ask. They don't see it coming. You can help with that. When you're involved, when you see their business, when you're having those regular conversations, you can help them avoid that. When you put all that together, that is the magic that the cloud delivers that the desktop never will. So those are some benefits that you can share with your clients as you're having these discussions about moving to an advisory workflow. Robbie, I certainly appreciate you being here with us and help walk us through and share some really good productivity automation nuggets. we want to make sure that we leave you with actionable steps. So let's go through a couple of things. And again, we've got the bundled services next, but a couple of things that you need to be doing to create that advisory workflow. Number one, make sure that you and your staff are certified in QuickBooks Online Pro Advisor. It's free. You can find that in your QuickBooks Online Accountant Edition under the Pro Advisor tab. Great training there. Make sure you're taking advantage of that. Next, migrate some test clients to QuickBooks Online. Maybe there's some that you have in your office that you do write up for. Test it out and learn. Find a champion in your office who can play with that. Really get your workflow not perfect. It won't be perfect. Launch and learn. Just define your workflow. Find a few clients that want to grow with you and figure that out. And then finally, start communicating your cloud platform, your strategy, your new services to your clients. It's a journey. We're not going to get it right the first time, and plenty of opportunity to adjust. But those are some next steps to take away, and that we hope that you'll begin to build your advisory workflow. Anything to add there, Robbie?
That's not too bad. I just want to reiterate, define your workflow. Don't let your clients define your workflow.
Yeah.
We talk about that so much when we're out on the road with firms, and it's just it's a really quick way to streamline your processes and build in efficiencies. And I would also say the right way.
Yeah. You're the expert. Be the expert. Your customers are waiting for you to give them that expert advice. I'm going to leave you with a couple of things here. Robbie has helped put together some beautiful videos, and my friend Woody too, that can help you. There's some really good resources here, videos. You can download this PDF, click on those links, and there's some good information in there to help you on your journey. Again, training is so important. To earn more, you got to learn more. So invest in your staff.
So true.
Go get training and build out that workflow. And then again, we've got product training at these locations if you'd like that. And I think we are just about at the top of the hour. So I'm going to wish you all well, take a break, and we'll see you in the bundled services. Thank you for joining us, and have a fantastic day.
Thank you all.